Realtree's Midwest Whitetail is brought to you by Cabela's, Easton Arrows, Frigid Forage, Fuse, Grizzly Coolers, Hoyt, Hoyman Tree Saws, Muddy Outdoors, Nikon, Ozonics, Redneck Blinds, Rocket Broadheads, RTP Outdoors, Trophy Rock, Spot Hog Releases, Wilderness Athlete, Viking Solutions, and Realtree.
Young buck.
Welcome back to Midwest Whitetail. It is November 19th, and Josh and I are set up here this morning back in the pinch on the property that Beam's an 8 mile on. We're back along the river. Perfect wind this morning, northwest wind, just blows our scent right over the river. And I don't know, it feels great out. It's about 25 degrees. Wind died down from yesterday. We've already seen, I think, 5 deer, 3 bucks and 2 does. 2 of the bucks were with does. One of them was right here on the riverbed. Saw them really early, but I think it should be a pretty good morning. I checked cameras on Friday, and Beams is still working this river bottom, so we're hoping to catch him cruising through here, scent checking for does. But I also got pictures of a pretty cool buck. I've never seen him before, so that's just one of the cool things about this time of year is you never know what's going to come through this area. So we're going to go ahead and sit back, and hopefully the deer movement continues, and we can get our eyes on Beams today. Well, the plan just about came together there. We just had a small buck come through about 30 yards, and he kind of worked off to our south. And I heard some running, and all of a sudden I hear Josh say, "It's Beams, it's Beams." So I get up and look around the tree, and well, first a doe comes sprinting by the tree, and I thought, perfect, he's going to be right on her tail. And then I look around the tree where he said he saw Beams, and I see 4 coyotes running down the river. So I'm all confused here, and then I see another doe go out into the field, and that smaller buck takes off chasing her, and all of a sudden I finally see Beams. Bucks are definitely on their feet this morning. I was just talking about our encounter with Beams, and we had a nice 3-year-old that I'm looking forward to seeing what he can turn into. He's got sweet genetics, got split brows, but anyway, long story short with Beams, he stayed back here behind us, and he had another doe with him, and that doe, Beams was in between us and that doe, but they both worked off to the south, same way that this other buck's going, so we're hoping that they don't go too far. It really pinches down up there, so there's not that much timber left for them to go. But I mean, we'll see. I'm just hoping that he either pushes her back through there, or he gets off that doe and just comes cruising back through. But like I said, it's been an awesome morning. We're seeing deer. Bucks are up on their feet using this pinch just like we want them to. Beams just made the right decision there and went the other way. But we're gonna sit it out, and hopefully we get Beams to come back working through here. 11 o'clock here, and Josh and I are going to wrap things up. It's been a phenomenal morning for us for this deer movement, best one of the year. Been having deer use this pinch just like we wanted all morning. Great encounter with beams. Unfortunately, him and that doe were the only two that didn't come by us. They stayed back in the thicket all morning, for a couple hours really, playing cat and mouse. They'd keep coming out. Every time a buck or doe would come through this little pinch, beams would come out and push everything off. A couple times they went down into the riverbed and got a drink of water. And in the end, beams ended up, the doe came down in the riverbed and she started going to the south, and beams got right on her and took her that way. That's the last time we saw him. That was about a half hour ago. So we're going to take this opportunity to get down. We got to get some stuff done. And then I'm going to be back in the redneck tonight, which is sitting over that big and beastie plot just to the south of us. Beams and that doe are going right that direction. So should be a pretty good evening. I'm going to use a decoy just because of how aggressive he was. I think a decoy could be pretty helpful with that tonight. Anyway, we're gonna go ahead and get things packed up, get down, and I'll see you guys in the blind tonight. Welcome back. It is about 1:30 and I'm just getting set up for my evening sit. Like I said earlier, I decided to come to the redneck tonight mainly because this food plot's the direction that beams and that doe were coming from. Last time we saw them, they were coming this direction. And then the other big reason is we've been seeing quite a few does here the last 2 times we've sat it, so if he does happen to get off of that doe, hopefully he comes cruising through this area looking for more does, or maybe that doe will come out here to feed tonight. But I wanted to get in early just because I knew he was in the area, and I'm glad I did, because as I was getting set up and getting everything put together, I actually had 5 does come out from my north and a little buck, and they all came out to the big and beastie, fed around the decoy for about 5-10 minutes, then worked their way off to the south. So hopefully that's a good sign of what's to come tonight, and that the deer are going to be up on their feet moving. So I'm going to go ahead and sit back, and hopefully we see some more action just like we did this morning and about 15 minutes ago. Well, it's about 5:30 and had another awesome hunt tonight. Didn't see beams, but couldn't have asked for any better deer movement. I mean, I had those deer early that I showed you, and then after that I had deer around me all evening. Didn't really have a time where there wasn't deer within sight. I ended up seeing 6, 7, 8 does, I think, and then 5 or 6 bucks. There at last light I finally saw a mature deer. I think that was just a 4-year-old 8 that I've got a couple years of history with, and he'll be on the hit list next year. But good looking deer, just not quite what I'm looking for. But again, it was an awesome hunt. Can't ask for anything much better than that. Not sure when the next time I'm going to be after beams is, sometime in the next couple days, but I'm guessing we're going to be hunting right in this area, because it seems like this is where most of the does are at, and I mean, it's just a matter of time before he shows himself again. So I'm going to go ahead and get things packed up and get out of here, and be sure to check in the next vlog, and thank you for watching Midwest Whitetail.
It's November the 7th. We're set up here in the point that we talked about in a previous video blog earlier this summer. Our main strategy with this particular spot was to try to catch deer coming across from this big block of timber to our west. But the corn's still not out. With the wet fall we've had, it's taken the farmers a little bit longer to get the crops out this year. One of the ways that we can effectively keep deer from smelling us is to hunt this in the mornings, like we are right now, to where we can rely on the thermals to help push our scent away from these deer. So it's a pretty solid setup, especially for this time of the year. we sat here yesterday morning and we had a pretty good encounter with a decent 3-year-old that came pushing a doe through here. It was a borderline shooter, and by the time that I had kind of decided that I wanted to take a shot, he already had moved through the shooting lane. So I know there's some bigger deer in here anyway, so hopefully we'll have an encounter with one of them this morning. Pulled a memory card a couple days ago and noticed there's a real nice 8-pointer that had moved in here too. So we're just gonna get settled in here. It's November the 7th, and this time of the year is usually about as good as it gets. So we'll get settled in and see what happens this morning. Well, that was pretty cool. We just had an encounter with a deer we call Tyson. We've been watching that deer grow all summer long, and he's probably been one of the most visible deer on the trail cameras. This is the first time we've actually laid eyes on him, though. The deer has a broken nose. That's where he got the name Tyson. It's because it looks like he took a shot from Tyson. So came close. He jumped the fence right here. I was hoping he'd work right down in front of us down the logging road where I could get a shot, but he turned and he went back behind the tree stand. He ended up working his way down into the valley. So we're just gonna settle back in here and see if something else shows up. Bucks are definitely cruising, so pretty exciting way to start the morning though. About 9 o'clock. We just had an encounter with that deer that we had chasing that doe by here yesterday morning. Cut right behind the tree stand. Grunted to him while he was back there, and he kind of came up the hill, but he turned and went off down in the valley here. But just wanted to also do a quick update about the deer that we have been hunting that we call crabs. He ended up getting killed Saturday morning. Today is Tuesday morning, so it was definitely a buck that when he was daylight active, he was definitely a roamer. He didn't stick in one area very often. The food plot that we put in this year actually helped hold him a lot more than last year, but as soon as the rut got going, he got up and moved. So we're just gonna go ahead and sit here a little bit longer and see what else happens this morning, but bucks are definitely up cruising. Well, it's about 10 o'clock, and it's been a fairly eventful morning. We've seen 2 bucks that I'd be happy to put my tag around. Just turned out that they came on the backside of the tree rather than out here where we could get a shot. As we were sitting here, we've been kind of looking up the hill toward where they came from, and we think there might be a better stand location up there to where we can catch a lot of the movement that is coming around the backside of this little patch of CRP grass. We're going to climb down and go over there and take a look and maybe move the stand. And then, depending on what we decide, we might go try a different farm tonight. The wind's just not the greatest for where we'd like it to be. So overall, though, it was a pretty good morning. So we're going to go ahead and get out of here.